And we are going to be talking about fucking Disney. That's what we are. We went to
where full, and then they were like,
see Lola. So yeah, man. Today we are going to be talking about mega content.
Yeah, I love.
Yeah, but who the hell cares about wildlife anyway?
Right.
All right, 3, 2, 1. Are we going to see Ezra Miller on the show? I don't know. Listen.
Maybe.
All right. So, welcome to the Nerd Archive podcast. My name is Lewis. With you, always, Justin, Yadi, and Lola. I said it right this time.
Yes, you did.
It is what
beautiful.
it is. Don't worry about it. We're just gonna scroll through that. Like, why is this on my nose? I don't know. I've had 2 mimosas already. I am ready to go. Let's go.
You're hungry, but don't eat your mic.
Oh man, talking about hungry. I was scrolling through Facebook waiting to start, and fucking Domino's knows I'm fucking hungry, and then it starts just popping up shit. I'm like, oh man, I'm just gonna destroy this bitch. Oh my god, I know. All right, so
Not even 2 minutes in, and we've already gotten off track.
yeah, it's funny. That's what we said. Well, we'll stay in track. Nope, not gonna happen.
Never.
Not gonna happen.
It's not what we do.
All right. So let's get started with the previously on. Don't go anywhere. Actually, stay right there. Please don't go.
You better not.
What's going on, nerds? This is Ryan. Previously on the Nerd Archive podcast, the nerds had Nick and Sarah on as guests to discuss Disney. I apparently didn't get the email. I'm a Disney expert myself, you know. With those two on, Lewis is falling further and further down on my list of favorite hosts. For some reason, Lewis says he can only cry if he sees an old black man crying? Does that mean he laughs when he sees a young white person crying? The nerds talk about their favorite Disney movies. Sarah mentions Hunchback and Coco. Sarah loves Coco so much she even married a Mexican. And then Sarah brings up Anastasia, which is not a Disney movie. Go ahead and enjoy your Russian princess there, Sarah. I, for one, stand with Ukraine. I didn't take you for a Putin sympathizer, but to each their own.
Ooh.
Speaking of bringing up things that aren't Disney, Justin brings up Shrek. Shrek in no way is a Disney movie. I'm not upset, Justin. I'm just disappointed. And then the nerds played the nerdy quote game because Lewis forgot to play it in the beginning of the episode. Go figure. Nick abstains from playing the game and still gets the same score as Lewis. I didn't think abstinence was Nick's thing. And lastly, Lewis tells us his coming out story with the guy from Wendy's while he was in college. This story is unbelievable. Who the hell would ever believe that Lewis went to college? Anyways, let's see what the nerds get into this week.
Thank you, Ryan. Thank you. You never disappoint, except your parents. I get it. I understand. With that being said, hey, Shrek, you know what? We're not going to talk about it. Justin,
Okay.
take it away.
Yes. Woo!
What's up, bitches?
That's right, everybody. It's time once again for Lewis's favorite segment in the entire world. The segment we call Nerdy Quote of the Week. As always in this segment, I test the host's nerdy knowledge with one nerdy quote from a series or movie, and they have to tell me who said it and where it came from. And so let's get on to the quote. Let's bring it up. And this week's quote is Star Wars themed to match the overall theme of the episode. Here we go. I like firsts. Good or bad, they're always memorable.
What the fuck? Say it again. In a sentence, please.
I like firsts. Good or bad, they're always memorable.
Fantastic. It's Shrek from Shrek. It's not Yoda. Let's
You said-
brainstorm, guys. Let's brainstorm.
You said I like what? What can you review?
He likes
Again, 'cause
first.
He likes.
It doesn't sound very Star Wars-y.
God damn.
Can you do it with an accent?
With
This
the accent
character
of
doesn't
the
really have an accent.
With the, oh, okay. God damn it.
Okay, movies or TV shows?
It's
Either
Star
one.
Wars themed. I can't go any further than that.
Ah,
Yeah, that's not ringing. This is-
Ryan says Chewie from the Christmas special, and he is absolutely correct. 50 points for Ryan.
After he had sex with Han Solo. Oh man. Trust me, it's not his first. I'm gonna go with Ahsoka in Rebels. Lock that
Okay, there's
answer.
Lewis. Either one of you can jump in.
I'll say Captain Rex in the Clone Wars.
Okay, there's Lola.
I have no idea. Trying to think who might say it. Or whatever.
First, whatever.
I
Just
don't
say
know, man.
character in a movie.
Just say since we're gonna talk about Ahsoka, so we're gonna go with Ahsoka in the Mandalorian.
All right, there's Yadi. All right, so that quote was stated by Ahsoka Tano in the series The Mandalorian.
Oh, you gotta be fucking kidding me. Go fuck yourself. I'm getting the fuck out of here.
So Lewis got 1 point for that because you got the character right. Yadi
I'm
got
getting the
2
fuck out of here.
points.
Bye.
Fuck off.
Hey, the last 2 episodes I've gotten 0 points. You're doing better than me. Good job.
And Lola gets 0. So yeah, that does it for this round. The scores stand with Lola still with the lead at 40 points, Yadi gaining a bit of ground with 36 points, and Lewis making up a bit of ground with 32.
Yeah, bit of ground. Yay. 1 point.
Hey,
Motherfucker.
Hey, you gained something and you got it right. Like you completely guessed, and so did Yadi. Like I am shocked because he's like, I could see it on his face. He's like, I don't know, and he just threw it out there and completely blew and just completely got it. I'm like, fucking hell, that was good.
God damn it. All right, Ryan. Before you Justin, before you go on, Ryan, thank you for stopping by. I know that you got Wednesday is usually harder for you. Something you've never heard before. And I appreciate you stopping by. Go have some fun at the NNF After Dark. If you guys don't know what that is, it's the No New Friends podcast. They have a second episode during every week, and they just talk about very important topics, things that normally podcasts wouldn't talk about, and they talk about them on there. So,
Sometimes it's serious, sometimes it's funny. It's all over the place.
oh yeah,
But it is
all right.
completely
Go check it out,
unscripted.
and go check the no new friends podcast.com. Go check it out.
Oh yeah. Nice little shameless plug. And on that note, that does it for this week's Nerdy Quote of the Week. And now on to our feature presentation. And
Fantastic. Sounds great. That last sound is exactly what goes through my mind every time you tell a quote.
hey, honestly, dude, with with the difficulty as high as it was, you did pretty fucking well getting the character.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, I went with theme of the episode. So I know that overall theme was Star Wars, but
True
I figured
enough.
you were going with Ahsoka.
That was
I
the,
read your
that
luck
was,
a
that
book,
was the plan.
motherfucker.
That was the plan. And I figured, let's go with this one and let's see if they can figure it out. And you're sitting here bitching and you got a point.
Fantastic. Yadi threw that fucking ball out there, and
Yeah.
I was
and
trying to think of what we're gonna talk about. Okay,
Yeah.
so it has to be Ahsoka, and then you haven't seen Rebels, right, Justin?
I've seen bits and pieces just to kind of get an idea of what's happening, so I'm not like completely lost.
So that's why I eliminated that because I knew he hasn't seen that. So I was like, well, that's more recent. That's my
Um,
thought. My
so
thought process.
when I heard that you got the full quote right, it gave me vibes. Have you ever seen Grown Ups? The movie Grown Ups
Yeah.
with Adam Sandler. There's a scene where they're standing all in a circle and they throw the arrow up, and
Yeah.
and that's exactly what Yadi did. He's like, I'm gonna throw this up there and see who I hit. And motherfucker got right.
Oh yeah.
All right. On that note, talking about Yadi, he was on Yadi. Was it a small vacation or did you go for a reason?
Yeah, it was both, I guess. So one of my buddies got married, and obviously went there to just have fun and
So you went to Puerto
whatnot.
Rico.
Yeah, I went to Puerto Rico and I took a little bit of extra time. Obviously, the wedding is not 5 days, but
Hey, listen.
I went to Isla Verde. I went to the one place I never been to actually, Aguadilla. I went to Punta Borinquen, which I'll send you guys some pictures and probably post it in the Discord. Um, Man, that looks like another planet. Like it doesn't look like Puerto Rico.
So if you want to see those pictures, make sure you join our Discord. The link is down below in the description.
Yes, and I ate a lot and I drank a lot because that's what you do when you go to Puerto Rico.
Of course. That'd be weird if you didn't.
Yeah.
All right.
Drinking and no, don't drink and drive.
Yeah. All right.
That didn't
So,
happen.
you have fun?
Yeah, that was
Fantastic.
great.
That's all we care about. that you
Try
had
not
fun.
to sound too excited.
Yeah, no, it just there's parts that I don't remember, but that's okay.
I get it. I understand. Every time go to Puerto Rico, that's what happens. All right, so we are going to be talking about Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka, new show.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm struggling right now because my ass forgot to change the description for the episode. I got it all done,
Oops.
and my dumbass forgot. So
I just noticed.
You ruined it. You ruined it, and I'm leaving.
Well.
It's all good. It can be fixed later.
Mm.
Oh, that's what I'm doing right now. Not later.
The magic of editing.
I guess in YouTube it's not gonna change until it's done, but it's okay.
Yeah.
If only we weren't live.
If only, but we are.
I did drink a Guinness. My sister left some Guinness in my mom's fridge in the house, and she was like, "You wanna drink one of these?" I was like, "No," and she left it in the freezer, and then she texted me and said, "Hey, you gotta take out that beer," and it forced me to drink it. Now it was like icy, like a legit Guinness icy, and it wasn't bad. It was
Interesting.
so refreshing.
That sounds fantastic, actually.
An adult Slurpee.
Oh,
Like I
yeah.
had to put a straw in the bottle so I could mix it, so I could pour it out because it wasn't coming out.
Did it taste good, though?
It tastes great.
Fantastic. All right. So, Ahsoka, episode 1. I got to say that was a good episode. It gave me Mandalorian vibes, how good the episode was.
Yeah, the quality was up there for sure.
Yeah.
A decent first start, I think.
Yes.
The pacing was about what I expected, and overall a decent episode right up until the end.
Right.
The ending, the last scene kind of aggravated me.
It aggravated me too, but we'll get to that in a second.
Yeah.
I think it was better than I expected because I was let down with Mandalorian season 3. And
Yep.
But however, it was directed by Dave Filoni, this episode, and he's executive producing it. And regardless if he's not going to direct the rest of the episodes, he's overseeing the episodes. And people are comparing this to, or they're talking about this show as a continuation to Rebels.
Pretty much.
So it's just live action.
That's kind of what it implied in the the little scroll story that they do at the beginning.
Right. So let's start off from the beginning. We see a ship in the beginning, and then there's a smaller ship asking if they can come in. And one of the crew members says they gave us a code, but they're saying that they're Jedi.
Mhm.
And when they say that, they're like, the captain is like, listen, we're gonna call their bluff. Let
Yep.
them in. And they arrive, and as soon as they come in, you see Balin Skull and Shin Hati, or Shin Hati, I guess. Which Skull and Hati are in the Norse mythology.
Yep.
Are
Wolves that chase the sun and moon.
Which is pretty much what they are doing. They are looking for a map in the galaxy. So,
neat little parallel there.
Right. And which we get to see a little bit later, more of the parallel I think it's at the end of the episode, or it's in the middle of the episode when we see what's her name? Sabine Gren.
Yep.
So when we see these two allegedly Jedi, the captain calls them on their bullshit, and they didn't like that. They didn't like that. They did not. They didn't like that you called our bullshit. So we're gonna show you exactly who we are. So here comes the apprentice and destroys everybody. When her lightsaber lights up, we don't
orange.
We don't see a red lightsaber. We see orange. And Dave Filoni made that on purpose to make sure that they separate the characters from, that way they don't think that they are Sith.
Dark Jedi, technically.
Right. So now that we know how it started, what do you guys think of overall the episode? What do you guys think of the episode?
Well, first a question, because I wanted to ask this question. Is it episode or part?
God damn it! Shut the fuck up. It's actually part. It's
actually
part because the name of the episode is Part 1 and Part 2.
Part 1, Master and Apprentice, and a little tidbit: Balon Skull, played by Ray Stevenson, who sadly passed away last month. Yes. So rest in peace, Mr. Stevenson, who sadly didn't get to see the completion of this vision.
Correct. And we did get to see at the end of the episode a little
for our friend Ray.
Yep. So that is something that they did for for him, and it was well done. Well done, Dave Filoni. Well done to the team. And I'm sure that his family is thankful for that.
Not
So
to make a joke out of this though, but when it showed to our friend Ray, I thought they meant Ray Skywalker, and I was so confused of
Don't you
this,
dare.
and
Not
I was
Ray
like,
Skywalker.
why are they saying this? This is not part of it. And then I had
it's
to
not even a
Google it.
timeline.
Then I had to Google it. I was like, wait, okay, now I get
Ray
it.
Stevenson, yes.
I was with you, Yadi,
You
until now
thought
that you guys
too?
just said that. Yeah. Who the fuck? They can't be Ray.
Do
Yeah,
you guys
no.
not see the news that he passed
Yeah,
away?
no, I just didn't know his name.
Oh, gotcha.
I'm bad with names, so especially actors.
Yeah.
Well, I knew it was him. I couldn't remember his name, but as soon as they showed him for the first time, I
Mhm.
told Sarah, hey, he died in real life. So as soon as I saw that at the end, which I was expecting it actually,
Right. Yeah.
I'm like, oh, okay, that's for him. So his name was Ray. Okay.
Oh yeah. But yeah, no, I like that first scene. You know, the introduction of the two Dark Jedi. You know, Shin kills pretty much everybody on there except for the captain who gets killed by Balon, and then they split up and she runs off killing everybody while Balon goes and frees Morgan.
Yes. So Morgan, we see her the first time in Mandalorian.
Mhm.
She is the one character that Ahsoka fights, and we didn't get to know who she was in the Mandalorian show, but in this show, and in the Mandalorian, she was depicted as looked like a Japanese warrior
A
type,
warlord,
right?
sort of.
But in this show, they give us that she is a witch from Dathomir,
She's a descendant of them,
descendant.
but I don't think I'm pretty sure she didn't grow up on I mean, but the way they portrayed her, like how they did all that when she first showed up in The Mandalorian is actually quite fitting. And I think it's something that we kind of should have picked up on. But I'm not sure if any of us did until they explained it in this first
Right.
part.
And what gave it away before they say who she was what she was wearing. She was
Yeah.
wearing red. And I know that in the games and in the shows they're always wearing like a maroon red color ish.
Hmm.
Also, the hairstyle. It's very specific
Right.
to the Night Sisters.
Right.
Hmm.
So as soon as I saw her wearing that toga dress type of thing that she was wearing, I knew that she was a Night Sister. Sorry. Yadi, what do you think of the episode?
It started very slow to me because I never watched the show, so I mean the Rebels, so to me it's like all new.
Mhm.
But I did watch it when I was working, so um working on something else.
Yeah.
Um but I like that when the fighting scenes came up, that's when I was more interested.
Completely
Ahsoka
understandable.
has like she is definitely like you don't see a growing Jedi have like we've seen before. He's already a master basically, so
Hmm.
it's a bit different.
Well, the thing is, in Rebels, well, she's
Yeah,
no
and
Jedi.
she well she is and
Right.
she's not. I know she was a Padawan and whatnot in the shows and all that stuff. So this is like her full self after
Right.
obviously living a life
Right.
as a Jedi.
We also see the damage of her relationship with Sabine Wren because of her leaving at the end of Rebels. and kind of left her for herself. What do you?
I'm pretty sure they left together to go look for Ezra. I think that's the very last scene.
I think she left by herself.
No, no. I'm pretty sure they left together, and that's where she started the Jedi training. Because there was no Jedi training in Rebels.
So we are seeing something that we didn't see before. There's a gap,
There is a gap, yeah.
Pretty much.
which
Pretty
they'll
much.
probably
It's
explain.
a pretty big gap, yeah. They left together at the end of it.
Okay, then that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because I'm sitting watching this, and they're like talking about how she was her apprentice, and I'm like, when?
Yeah, that never happened. Well, they never showed it, but I'm assuming they might do like flashbacks at some point or another, being that their relationship is strained and explaining why it's strained.
Right.
But she did get some, not Jedi training, but she did get some training with a dark saber with the guy with ponytail.
Mm-hmm.
I forget his name.
Canon
Kanan?
Jarrus.
Yeah.
Yes.
But that was as far as they showed in like in regards to Jedi training. It was just with the lightsabers. But it seems like there was a period of time from what they've said in this episode where she was being trained by Ahsoka.
Right. And it's awesome that we got to see in The Mandalorian, we got to see Bo-Katan, and then now we get to see her. We get to see Sabine Wren. The whole crew. I'm still waiting for, even though in The Mandalorian we got to see, what's his name? God damn it.
Chopper.
Yeah.
He's my favorite.
Yeah, we got to see him.
Such a cranky bitch.
And then my favorite character is Hu Yang.
Yeah.
The pilot, the droid pilot, which is funny.
That
His
second
name is
episode.
his name is Hu Yang, and he's voiced by David Tennant, which is
Yup.
Doctor Who. So it's Hu Yang.
Who?
Who? Doctor Hu Yang.
There's a lot of vowels here.
Yeah, for sure. We get to see Clancy Brown as the governor. He's in everything. One guy that I recognize was
I like his fucking voice, man.
Yeah.
He's got one of those voices.
I remember him from, every time I see him, I see Pet Sematary. Like Pet Sematary, I think it's the second one. Because I have this vivid memory of watching this movie and him getting his neck bitten off by his dog, and then him coming back to life, and half of his neck is gone.
Oh shit.
So that is why I remember Clancy Brown. Like, it's crazy that that's what I remember. And in the second episode, we get to see Peter Jacobson. I remember him from House. He plays Min Weaver, which is the guy that runs the scrapyard. Yeah. Lola, what do you think of the episode?
I don't know yet. I'm having mixed feelings about it, and it's mostly with that whole like the characters are different from Rebels, but I think it's because of the whole passage of time, and they're not the same characters that we saw in Rebels. They're matured and things have happened and all that stuff. So I don't know yet. I don't know how to feel about it yet.
Yeah, we're seeing the same characters with more conflict.
Yeah.
Pretty much, because the years do a lot of different things to a lot of people, and I think the upcoming episodes are going to, I think, put a lot more into perspective as time goes.
Right.
So real quick, I just looked up the ending of the Rebels show. Sabine left with Ahsoka as a Mandalorian of sorts, like in the Mandalorian suit. And then now that we see her again, she's more Jedi rebel-ish.
Right.
So
Yeah, you
That
gotta
makes
see
sense.
this ending of the part 2.
Okay.
Yes, because the ending of part 2 is the ending of Rebels. Like it's frame by frame. It's mirroring the scene
Okay.
or episode 2. I don't know. Fuck the episodes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it seems like the beginning of closing, like the closing of old wounds that had opened up between the ending of Rebels and the beginning of this show.
Right.
So that divide that was there is, I guess, like they're both realizing that they need help, and so
Right. So one thing that we haven't talked about is what the plot of the show is. So the plot of the show is that we are seeing these two teams looking for two different people that we that disappeared at the end of Rebels, which
Hmm.
is Ezra Bridgers and um Admiral Thrawn,
yep.
which I want to know why this Night Sister is so focused on finding Admiral Thrawn, because yes, they talk about how much she wants to get him, and she has this plan, and she has this this map that, which I have a kind of a theory. There's this map of where he is, but why is she so invested in it? It's my question.
She, I guess, is. I mean, she's an Imperial loyalist, pure and
Right.
simple, and so her aim, from what I see in these first 2 episodes, is to bring him back from exile, to bring war on the New Republic and reinstall the Empire.
Right.
And that's also what our 2 Dark Jedi are looking for as well. So it looks like they're going to be along for that ride. Whereas, yeah, if they succeed, which, based on what we've seen so far, they don't. Um, it's basically the Empire all over again, and that's their
Right.
goal. And then, of course, Ahsoka and her crew, their goal is to find him, to stop that, but also to track down Ezra,
Right.
to bring him back.
Do you think that we're going to see Ezra?
I think so, considering that we did see him appear. I mean, yeah, it was as a hologram, but they have somebody that is playing his character. So I feel like they're going to bring him in maybe on the second to last or last episode.
Right, which is played by Eamon Esfandi.
Hmm.
He is in looking here. There's a lot of short movies that he's done. There's not really a lot of. I think this is the biggest thing he's done.
Right. So he's like one of the few new characters that
Right.
like this would be the first noteworthy thing that he's been a part of.
Right.
What should they bring it in the middle of everything?
It's that's what I was getting a feeling of.
That's a possibility as well, because that big ship that they're constructing is set to take them out of their current galaxy and into their destination galaxy.
Right. So here's my theory. What if? Okay, before I tell you my theory, the temple that they find the map where they believe that Thrawn and Ezra are. It's in a temple that was built thousands of years ago.
By another species, the
Correct.
ancient species. That's
Right.
Well, no, the temple, where Ahsoka found the map.
Mhm.
That was an old Night Sister temple. It's a
Correct.
Night Sister stronghold.
Oh, I was thinking of where she read
Right.
the The two parts are
it's
mixing.
right. I mean, it's going to happen. The planet's called Darkana,
Right.
and so that's where she found it.
And how, because they don't tell us how far ago or how long ago they built this temple and they hit that map. They talk about how ancient it is. They don't
Mm.
tell us how long ago they put that map there. And how come if this bitch knew, I mean this witch knew where it was,
This is fitting.
how come now is when they're trying to find it? If he's been missing for all these years, because it's been over what, 30 years?
Mm.
20 years? So
I'm thinking that the two had contact before he went into exile and told her where she was, not just where she was going or where he was going, but how to find, like how to track him down when the time came and where, and where to find this map.
right. And but did you see
'Cause
when he disappeared?
I did not.
He was taken with Ezra
Mhm.
by these like
Space whales.
the
The
space
Purgils,
whales,
right?
right? The
Turtles, yeah.
Purgils. Well, Purgil, not Purgils. Purgil is plural. I was watching New Rockstar and they explained that the Purgil, they took both of them.
Hmm.
So, and it's not that he knew he was going there; it's that he was in the middle of attacking and got taken. So that's why I don't think that that he knew where he was going and that he had a plan where he was going to end up at, unless it's a plan of saying, okay, just in case I go missing, this is where you should go find me because I'll find my way there.
I would think that would also be a possible scenario, considering, because based on what I've read about him, like he is exceedingly brilliant,
Right.
and that's how he was able to get as far as he did in the Empire.
Right. So, one thing that because I was watching New Rockstars and I usually what they say, theories that they talk about and all that, I follow them because they're very knowledgeable. They made a very good they they posed a very good question. Is it where he went or when he went?
I think where. I don't think the Purgil can take you out of time. I think it's just space.
But
'Cause
time
they
and space are together.
but the problem is the Purgil can go into hyperspace. So can ships. Ships can't go in time. They can only go in space.
That we
Understood.
know of.
It's well, it's more wormholey than it is black hole.
Right.
Mm.
Have you heard the theory of why we travel in light years in space and not in distance?
I think, but I can't recall at the moment.
All right. So the theory is that by the time that light travels a distance, by the time that we see it, we're seeing things how they were at the time that they left, or that the light left that particular place.
Essentially, it's the distance light can travel in a year.
Correct.
Because at this point, light is the fastest known speed.
Correct. So there's a theory out there that because scientists made a map or a picture of what it looked like in the Big Bang. And the reason they can do that is because they have looked past a specific distance, and at that distance is let's say, a million light years far, that means that we are seeing that how it looked a million years ago.
Yeah, I was
Does that
talking
make
to
sense?
a friend from work about this recently.
Right. So that's why when they travel in light speed, they are essentially traveling in time. That is just a theory. Moving on from that, because I don't have facts. I don't have anything that can support that. It's just a theory. One thing that I want to bring up is the parallel to the when she gets to the when Ahsoka gets to the temple, she does this circle with her lightsaber to
Yeah,
Mhm.
love
go
that.
inside the temple. That actually happened in one of the episodes in season 7 of Clone Wars, where she was escaping from a ship that was about to wreck. So that was I thought that was pretty cool that they did that.
Yeah,
So
It's cool that she's just in the force too. She's
yep,
not even
yeah.
touching them.
yep. Um, so she finds the map. She finds Sabine. She gives her the map to look at it, even though that she doesn't want to, but it's because it's for Ezra. She has to put her differences aside,
Then she
and
steals it.
yeah, because Ahsoka told Sabine, "No, you cannot take it." And as soon as she said, "You cannot take it," and she walked away, I'm like, "This, why are you so
Yep.
stupid?
Yep.
This is
She did
filming
it on purpose.
101."
Uh-huh. Saw it coming a mile away. It's like
Yeah,
she's going to be gone, and so will the map.
yep. She's gonna come. As soon as she walked away, so she's gonna come back with some information, and when she's about to talk to her, she's gonna be gone. And what happened? They figured something out. She came
Yep.
back with some information. She was gone. I'm like, bitch, what? Why did I not write this? Like, I could be a fucking millionaire right now. Not really. Am I missing anything so far? Because it's just episode 1, part 1.
Oh yeah. No, she goes back to her place with that which is in that old comms tower after that, and
Right.
she's pondering over that, and of course the copy of the scan that Ahsoka had, and so she's just kind of racking her brain a little bit trying to figure out, and eventually she does figure it out, and it basically, and I kind of figured when I first saw the orb at the beginning of the episode, I'm like, this looks like a puzzle, and of course she picked up on that and figures out the pattern and unlocks it and sees that map, and then steps outside, pets her little cat thing, whatever the hell they're called. Those are neat.
And
Lothgals,
meows.
Lothcats.
Gotcha. Yeah. And then she's attacked by the droids.
Listen, before we get to that, back to the temple. When she was down there, didn't it give you Fifth Element vibes?
Yes,
Yeah, when the thing
A little
came
bit.
out.
Yeah. I'm
but
like, oh man.
it reminded me of the temple that they're excavating in the Rebels show where Ezra goes into I don't know what it's called, what it's like where time and space and all that stuff like is together and he saves Ahsoka. Um it reminded me of that. It was very like the markings on the walls and all that stuff were very like similar.
Oh yeah.
This temple is in the Rebel show. That's the part where the Inquisitors show up and they have to fight with the Inquisitors.
Repeat that again?
When they're in Rebels, the Inquisitors show up and they're fighting with the Inquisitors. It's the same temple that Ahsoka fights Darth Vader.
Yes.
So that was the last time that they saw each other.
Yes.
I'm assuming that's where they went with that.
It's possible. I mean,
Right.
but those statues are pretty interesting. And Like their eyes were kind of weird. It was like
I
they
was
were
waiting for them
actually
to move.
yeah. That's what I was waiting for as well. It's like they're looking at me. Like
They're
these
watching.
things are
I,
yeah.
I was
they're
gonna make a
weird.
Chris Tucker joke with Fifth Element because I was waiting for him to show up. But then that scene where the eyes, that reminds me of Shanghai Nights with Jackie Chan and Owen Wilson when
Mm.
they're
pictures,
in the what?
the pictures that
The
they
yeah,
have
the
the eyes,
pictures,
like,
the eyes move, and it's his sister behind them. So you were talking about the droids attacking Sabine. She gets into a fight with them, and then she meets
Shin.
Hati, Shintati,
say it again.
Shinhati,
Oh yeah.
Shinhati,
Yeah.
Shinhatai. Just
And
in
of course
case for the
she
Japanese
runs
viewers.
out with Ezra's old lightsaber
Yeah.
and proceeds to try and fight Shin badly, I think. Like she really did not stand a chance. Like I think Shin was playing around with her
Yeah.
before finally stabbing her in the stomach, which that actually kind of aggravated the shit out of me because it's like, okay, I think I know where this is going because it's going to be plot armor because they're not going to kill off one of the chief characters from that crew
Right.
on the first episode. And sure enough, second episode starts, she wakes up in a medical ward with Ahsoka and she's getting healed. And I'm like, really?
Why couldn't they do this to Qui-Gon?
That's what I'm saying. And it's like, I'm
Technology was
thinking
not
this.
there.
No, bullshit. It's just another case of Disney Star Wars not knowing what the hell they're doing.
It didn't get any vital organs.
Bullshit.
Yeah, I'm with Justin because in the first scene when these two motherfuckers are going around this ship, one of those dudes gets hit on the leg and he's dead. And he gets scratched and his leg's still there.
Maybe he was just plain dead, so he wouldn't get actually killed.
That's what a
Because my leg's
vital,
gone. Okay, now it's dead time.
the blood flow goes through that leg.
Yeah, but the
So-
kind of damage, I mean, when you see Ahsoka and her ship come up on the damaged ship, you can see there's a lot of damage done to that ship. So
Right.
you can only assume that they basically took out probably their life support. So you can assume that everybody on board that ship is probably dead. So whether the guy in whether one of those security guards survived that initial onslaught or not, they were fucked after that.
I can only imagine. This dude falls, acts like he's dead. He's like,
Yeah, and then all of a sudden, you're waking up to see maybe they're gone, and then out of nowhere, all of a sudden you're just because
or
think
a
about it.
lightsaber right through your forehead. I don't know.
I mean, I think it'd be easier to just to take for them just to take out the life support and not and just have everybody suffocate that way because you know damn well they didn't want to leave any witnesses.
Right. All right. So, scale 1 to 5. What do you guys give this episode?
3.
3.5.
First one, yeah, 3.5. I was gonna say.
I agree.
If it wasn't for if it wasn't for that end scene with the lightsaber and Disney not knowing what the hell they're doing with lightsabers in Star Wars, it probably would have gotten a 4.
I give it a 4 because we are actually seeing people getting impaled.
Well, at least I mean, at least we got that, and of course, the only things we see getting dismembered are droids.
Right.
So,
we'll see. It's still on the first episode. We'll see how far they decide to take this. So hopefully someone gets dismembered and heads cut off, and I don't know. We'll decide.
I like where your head is.
Yeah, well, hopefully they still have theirs or not. All right. So when we come back, we'll talk about part 2, episode 2. I don't know. Who fucking cares?
The people care.
I'll be right back. All right, guys, welcome back. You are watching the Nerd Archive podcast. Now we're gonna
Are
talk
we?
about I don't know. Well, we're not. We're not watching it. Later we will.
Mm.
We talked about the first episode of Ahsoka,
Mm.
and now we're gonna talk about part 2. Did you see?
Yay!
Episode 1 and part 2.
I
Fantastic.
There you
got
go.
it.
Fantastic. All right. So, episode 2, part 2. Who fucking cares? I'm gonna say it again.
Toil and trouble.
Oh yeah.
Sabine wakes up to plot armor.
Yeah, to be honest, I was watching TikTok when the episode started, so I don't remember how it started. So go for it.
Basically, it starts with a white screen, and you hear the echoes of voices, and Sabine wakes up in a medical ward with Ahsoka looking out a window. And then it goes back to the old wounds thing,
Yeah.
and then it cuts. I think not long after that to Balon and Shin on Cetos after they got the orb. What?
I say, what you call me?
I called you a smartass.
Onancito.
Yeah.
Despacito? No.
Hey.
No. That fucking song is so goddamn played out. I hear it and I instantly just get
Yeah, but you
irritated.
hear the Justin Bieber version. The original is better.
The original is better. I still don't like that song though.
I started like it more when I watched the music video because it has so like many Puerto Rico stuff that I'm like, okay.
I wonder why.
I'm not
Well-
sure why, though. I'm not sure why you mentioned Justin Bieber because I want to punch him in the face.
Yeah, I'm not a believer. Okay, moving on.
No, yeah. But yeah, no, they're on the planet Cetos, waiting for Morgan, since they have the orb.
Is that a small planet? Planecito.
Planetcito.
It's-
Moving on. Keep going.
Yeah, no, and then we move on to Ahsoka going to the comms tower to investigate everything that happened up to the end of the first episode, or part, whichever you want. I don't care. And seeing that she can feel echoes in the Force, and she can hear in the Force a lot of what was going on, and that reminded me of an ability that Cal Kestis has. So he can do the same thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is really cool.
Yeah.
And then, so she looks around at her speeder, and then she goes in and looks at all the damaged equipment. And then pets the kitty. And then as she's looking around, she is ambushed by one of the other droids, which she was
expecting.
counting on,
Right.
and immediately cuts its head off.
Yes. And then she brings the droid head to Sabine, and Sabine figures out where the droid came from, and it was this planet that it's like a scrapyard, which gives me vibes again of Cal Kestis.
Corellia is where that one came from, the shipyard at Corellia.
Yep.
And then
Yeah.
Morgan has factories there.
And
Have we seen Corellia before? I feel like we have.
I want to say we might have. I could be wrong, and I'm more than likely wrong, but I'm assuming. I mean, because Han Solo makes mention of it several times, and I think we see it in the Solo movie, but I'm probably wrong, and I'm probably going to get shit for it, but whatever.
All right, so we get to Corellia, and Ahsoka and what's her face, Syndulla.
Yep.
They are asking questions, trying to figure out where this droid came from. Trying to
Too
see
many
if there's-
questions.
Yeah. Trying to see if there's a maybe someone that used to work for the Empire that is still part of the Empire, and is sending these droids or forming these droids or whatever it is to help Morgan and Balon and Shin. And little did they know is that the C-3PO looking motherfucker kind of gives him away
Oh yeah.
because everyone in that little room was working for them.
Yep.
And one of
And
them screams something
yeah,
for the Empires.
Yep.
Something like
Yep.
that. I was like,
yeah.
Exactly that. Exactly that.
And that's when we see the actor that I was talking about earlier, Peter Jacobson, that he's in House. He is pretty much the leader because they asked him right before they got to that or went on their way to that room.
Mhm.
Like pretty much who do they serve? And it's like I serve who my highest bidder is, and I knew at that point that he is greedy. If he gets paid, he's gonna do it.
Oh yeah. No, he was pretty suspect from the beginning.
Yeah,
And then of course when he's asked to look up, where that hyperdrive core is going, and it's like, oh, it's classified.
right.
And then Hera's like, well, guess what? I have authorization, so unclassify it. And he's like, no, you don't. And they're
Right.
going back and forth. And then all of a sudden the protocol droid comes in. And
Yep.
that's where the questions start. It's like,
He fucked up
any of
by
these?
calling that protocol droid.
Oh yeah. Yeah. He put himself in that position to be found out. And it's just like, oh, I saw these kind of droids. And then he's like, this motherfucker.
He's like, why didn't you report
Why?
it?
Yeah.
dude?"
Why didn't you report it? trying to save himself, but I think by
Right.
that point it was over because it's like you had the guy that was sitting in that terminal, literally right behind Ahsoka, just getting ready, and he knew that they were found out, and that's when
Yeah,
for the Empire.
that's crazy. I wish they didn't do that. It was kind of cringy.
A little
It's
bit,
so stupid.
a little bit.
So Ahsoka jumps off the window to try to stop this ship that these droids were in.
Hardcore parkour.
Yep.
You
And
see, in Jedi Survivor, if you jump that high, you die.
yeah,
Pretty much.
So
Pretty
she's
much.
above.
but yeah, she's a level 5 Jedi, so she's fine.
More plot armor.
Yep. So she's trying to get this ship, and I'm like, bitch, you running. Shut up. Yeah, why didn't you use the Force running? Like we saw in episode 1.
That I think was just quietly buried.
Yeah. And so all of a sudden she looks in front of her and she sees a droid and an Inquisitor.
Oh yeah.
And that fight was pretty nifty. I gotta say, the most badass moment happened as soon as that fight was over because they're fighting and it's fucking fantastic. And then the ship starts
I know
coming
what
to
you're gonna
them,
say.
and yeah, and then the ship starts shooting at her, and she's just running through it. The Inquisitor gets in the ship, and before he tries to get away, he throws his lightsaber to try to get her, and as that's how he starts running. And when they show her in the smoke, she literally just moves.
Yep.
Yeah, that was pretty
Moves.
badass.
That
Yeah.
was fucking badass. I saw that shit.
That
and
was
I'm like,
nice.
Lola, when you see that,
That's what you're missing out, Lola. You should
Hey,
watch it
it's
right after.
it's not that I didn't want to watch it. I just didn't have the time.
no, I get it.
Oh, yeah.
I get it.
I
But
mean, it's getting spoiled, but obviously it's not going to prevent her from watching it. So
Oh, it's
Yeah.
okay. I'm not listening to you guys.
you're
convenient.
gonna be looking forward to that because it was a badass moment.
Should
Like
be
there was
what?
That was
no
nice.
there was no moving out of the way, jumping. It was literally she just, and it was coming from behind her.
And even before that moment, when they start running, and then
Mhm.
the thing starts shooting at them,
She's just running through it.
she's just running like, I don't care. I'm not gonna get hit. You know.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, she knew because those blast points were spaced out more than far enough.
Right.
They don't have a blind spot. The big one.
Yeah. So
Little bit.
that out of the whole episode, that is the one thing that I'm like, this shit was badass.
Oh yeah, it was nice.
So as I just needed to get to that, but during the fight, we see Syndulla get on her ship trying to stop that ship that fucking Ahsoka thought that she could outrun.
I thought she was
And
gonna use the Force,
to
like
hold it.
right.
Yeah.
So they always done that
Hmm.
with Darth Vader. So
Well, yeah, I was gonna say that's a Vader thing. I don't think they're gonna have her
Well,
do
she did
that.
it
Is that
in the last season of Clone Wars.
Hmm.
In season 7, she did it
Hmm.
too because of that. And
Yeah.
then that is why they had that scene in Kenobi.
right, that's another
It was
one. Yeah.
mirroring that. Obviously she struggled, he didn't. But who's counting? So Syndulla, she's in this high speed chase, not really too high speed, but she's getting shot at
Mhm.
and she's maneuvering. The droid is funny as hell.
Yeah.
Chopper.
Chopper is funny as hell because she tells him, you can tell he's complaining. He's like, "What the fuck
Oh
are you
yeah.
doing?" Like, and he has these little arms come out, and his movement with his arm is literally it. His body language is
Oh yeah.
fantastic.
Well, you can tell, like you can kind of tell what he's saying as he's
Mhm.
talking to her, and it's like shoot the I mean, paraphrasing. It's like shoot the fucking ship down. I don't want to
Right.
shoot the ship down because what if it falls over a populated area?
And he's like,
And it's like,
"Who cares?"
right?
He's known
just
for cursing.
Right.
Like, not obviously we can't understand it, but I believe from
Mhm.
like what I've seen in Rebels, they're like Jesus language.
Right.
Oh yeah, no, I mean it's like you can infer kind of what he's saying, so it's like you can embellish and paraphrase a little bit, but yeah, no,
Yeah.
that's essentially like what he's doing because he's like, I mean, he's
Right.
The ghetto
sassy as
droid.
fuck.
Well, it's funny because she tells the droid, make sure that prepare the tracker so you can throw it and make sure you don't miss this time.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
his response was like, "Bitch, shut the fuck up."
yeah.
And he's looking for it and he can't find it. And then he says
You go
something
through
to
my
her.
stuff.
Yeah, he says something to her and she's like, "I didn't go through your stuff." And did you check under the backup battery? And he finds it. And then
He's like, oh,
she, yeah. And then
Yeah, yeah.
damn it.
So when they're getting close, because she tells them, "Hey, make sure that you get ready before they jump into hyperspace."
Yep.
So she does a maneuver where they go over upside down, and he throws it. His little arms came out and did this.
Yep.
I lost it. That shit was funny.
That maneuver that she did going over the top of that ship was actually kind of cool, and it brought me back to, and you're probably going to groan at this one, but it brought me it seemed like it looked like that scene from Top Gun Maverick. And yes, it's a Tom Cruise movie. Shut up.
Never seen
Dude, you may
Actually,
not like the guy.
eh,
You may not like the guy. I don't like him either, due to other reasons, but he makes some of the best movies that have come out. And honestly, dude, Top Gun Maverick, I know we're talking about Star Wars, but Top Gun Maverick is one of, if not the best movie that came out in 2022. Hands down.
well, they didn't have
Moving
a lot to
on.
go with, so fine. Um,
You had Avatar: Way of Water, which pretty much was the number one release of 2022. So, and it made $1.5 billion at the fucking box office. So, I would
so
consider
you
that a
name one,
success.
fantastic. Tell me another one.
It is what it is. But no, I only brought that up because that scene, because her maneuver actually reminded me of that. And honestly, that was an incredible movie.
There's a scene in episode 3 that Anakin does is just like that.
Oh yeah, that too.
And there's also a scene in The Fifth Element with the taxi that he does that too. So
Okay.
So I'm very, very like drawn to the Fifth Element on this one, as you could tell.
Is it
Oh yeah, no,
because the
and
general reminds you of that singer in the movie?
Yes, yes,
Diva Plava Laguna, I think is her
yeah,
name.
The Oprah
She's my
singer?
favorite.
yeah.
no,
Lola
and
used to watch Fifth Element like it was her job when she was a kid.
Yeah.
no,
I
and
love that movie.
I understand, though, because there's some interesting parallels between that one and these first couple of episodes. So
Right. So they get that tracker, and Syndulla, I hate saying her name, it sounds weird. Tells Ahsoka, okay, I'll let you know when the tracker is good to go,
Hmm.
because we're still trying to find it. And
You see the little droid with the antenna
yeah,
going all around.
and then she tells Ahsoka, hey, we found it. It's over. Do you remember the planet's name?
the Denab system, planet Cetos, where they
Planet's,
were when
yeah,
they first saw the
the
map.
Planetcito.
Planet.
Um, so bef- before anything else happens, you see Sabine talking to the droid and to Huyang and Dr. Huyang.
I knew that
And
was coming.
yeah, and he lays it on her because he said, "I know." She said, "I know I'm not skilled as Ezra or or good as him," and he's like, "Yeah, you're right. You're right. You were not." And I have trained uh countless Jedi in the last millennia and or century or whatever he said,
Hmm.
and you're nothing compared to them.
You fall short of every
Yeah.
single one of them.
Yep. And she's like, "What the fuck? I thought you were supposed to be convincing me." So they go into a conversation about how Ahsoka left her and she never came back, and he straight up tells her, "You never showed that you wanted to come back."
Pretty much.
So now, fast forward to the scene where Ahsoka's told that, hey, the tracker is good and it's at Planecito, and um, she gets a message from Sabine dressed up as her Mandalorian suit and says, "I'm ready." So
Yep.
she goes to pick her up. When she arrives to pick her up, we see Sabine staring at the mural from Rebels, which it's in episode in part 1. Which we forgot to talk about that whole fucking scene of her riding that speeder bike.
Oh,
That
right.
Where she
Yeah.
yeah,
drifted it under the ship.
yeah, that shit was fun.
That was good.
Yeah. So she's back looking at that mural. She's staring at Ezra, which is the exact same mural from Rebels. It's not a they didn't make it look live action. They literally took it from the animated. And here is Ahsoka behind her at the little window waiting for her. And it's literally the scene from Rebels. The whole thing is the same scene from Rebels.
Mhm.
I'm like, this shit is crazy. Because as soon as I saw it, I'm like, oh man, that brings back memories. It's one of those things that you don't have to rewatch. Be like, oh yeah, that's what it was. As soon as you see it, you
Mhm.
know exactly where it's from. If you've
Pretty
seen the
much.
first one. So, Lola, I would ask you what you feel about this episode, but
Oh, I feel fantastic about this episode.
Oh, fantastic. Great. Great. You have things to look forward to.
Yeah.
Yadi, what do you feel about the episode?
That's pretty cool. I like the, when she was told that, to ask basically to kind of get back with Ahsoka. And she's like, she doesn't want me,
Right.
and then at the end, she cuts her hair off and then
Goes
gets
back
into
to
the
the old
ship.
style.
Yeah, gets into the chip, and then what did she tell her to do? She tell her to accelerate, basically, whatever.
Mhm.
And then she calls her Padawan,
Yeah.
and that was pretty
That was
pretty
crazy.
cool.
That was
Yeah.
good. Going back to what you just said that she said Ahsoka doesn't want me. Dr. Hu Yang looked at her and said, "That's an excuse,
Hmm.
a bad one at that."
Pretty much.
He no,
I think in his own screwed up way, like he was telling her what she needed to hear,
right,
giving her that pep talk that she, not what she wanted to hear, but definitely what she needed to hear to kind of spur her into that action. And, then going back home and getting her armor and chopping her hair off,
right,
going back to that, classic style from Rebels.
right. So what do you guys think? Balin Skull is around the same age as Darth Vader?
Mm,
Maybe a
I would
bit
think
younger,
so.
and maybe he's a little bit older than Vader.
Well, Vader was in his 50s when he died.
Well, this guy. So in the first part of this, they did mention that he disappeared. He was already a
Yep,
Jedi. He
Right.
disappeared. The Order 66 happened.
pretty
So
much.
it makes it seem that he's older than
Well, yeah. I mean, because they never really
Vader.
said how old he was when
Right.
he vanished at the end of the Clone Wars.
Right.
So whether he was a fully fledged Jedi Knight or still a Padawan or whatever, I'm assuming he was probably a knight at that point.
Right.
Considering his age now at the beginning of this series,
I want to think that he was a Jedi Knight
Hmm.
because he is training Shin as a Jedi Padawan. And the reason is, if you notice, she has a little
she's got the
braid.
Yeah.
braid.
Yeah.
So I want to say that he was a knight already.
Hmm.
And maybe that's why I say that I think that he's about the same age as Anakin. Because Anakin was in his 20s when the whole thing happened. Or late 20s ish. So the way that he looks now, it gives me a vibe of like he's in his 50s. So the timeline kind of adds up.
Well, if we think about it like that, then I'm guessing that he probably found her after he disappeared
Right.
at the after the Clone Wars.
Right.
Because if it had been before, then she, I think, would have been a lot older, and I don't think she would have had that braid.
Right. What if because they haven't explained how he found her. What if we get an explanation tying Cal Kestis, not really tying his character, but how in the end of Jedi Fallen Order they find the orb that has the location of all the Force users. And I know that they destroyed it in the game, but
Hmm.
what if that led to them finding, because they wanted to build an army and get more apprentice and get more the dark side out there again
It's
instead
my
of trying to
understanding that
kill
there's
him.
multiple. It's not just the one. It's multiple of them that have like names of Force users.
I was gonna say the same thing because it makes sense that there would be more than one out there.
Right.
I think they say that during somewhere in the Clone Wars when they're starting to take children, kidnap children, and take them to Mustafar.
Right.
I'm thinking that he just happened upon this kid by chance and, sensed her connection to the Force and took it upon himself to train her. And then I don't know if like he was still on the light side at that point or like, where in that timeline did he ultimately, make his fall not completely to the dark side. I would
Right.
think considering that their sabers are orange. So that, like you said,
Right.
not technically Sith.
Right. Or his daughter.
That's also a possibility because we don't really know that much about the characters.
Right. And as a Jedi, the first one was, well, not the first one, but in movies was Anakin to have kids as a Jedi. And if Balin is not a Jedi anymore, then he doesn't have to follow those rules.
Pretty much.
All right. Do you guys have anything else?
What if?
Hmm.
Where is this in the timeline? I'm not
Well, it obviously takes place after Mandalorian.
So
Mm.
that's
So
what I wanted
about
to
10
see.
years after the fall, because the first episode, it's on the anniversary of the fall of the Empire, which is the
So-
return of the Jedi.
You think we'll see Grogu?
I hope
It'll be
so.
cool. It'll
It
be
would be
cool if
awesome
we
to
meet
see
the
Luke.
Mandalorian Grogu and then this new Mandalorian Jedi thing. I mean, not new, but to me it's new.
Right. Here's why I don't think we're going to see Luke, unless it's like an appearance and she goes to talk to him in his planet. But in action, I don't think that we're going to see him because it'd be too easy. It would take away from Ahsoka. Unless they team up. But I doubt that that's going to happen. We're going
Yeah,
to
I think they're gonna focus on the crew that we
the crew,
have
yeah.
now because that I think just doesn't like. I get I get fan service, but honestly, there's only so much you can do before it gets a bit overbearing.
Yeah.
And starts to piss people off.
Yeah, I think that they should stop with the cameos of Luke Skywalker. And if you want to bring Luke Skywalker back, just give him his own series. Like him trying to rebuild the Jedi Order or the Jedi Academy. And please use another actor. Don't use CGI. Use Lola. I know that you want him to play Luke Skywalker. Who do you want to
Of
play Luke?
course. Mark Hamill, always. Just use CGI. We have it.
No. It looks
They're gonna use
trash.
AI. They're gonna use AI to create the whole show.
No, Sebastian Stan.
So here's another question. What episode do you think Hayden is going to show up? Because we know he's going to.
Daddy
Episode
Vader?
4.
I'm pretty sure the next one they're gonna show a flashback.
Well, yeah, no, that's pretty much the idea because we know he's going to be in this series as, like her memories and flashbacks and things like that.
Do you think that the memory is going to be a live action version of the fight between
I
them
was
and
just
Rebels?
thinking about that.
That'd be
That would be
sick.
so fucking dope.
Well, with
That'd be a fan
well,
service
think
right
about
there.
it with the trailer with the extended trailer that they showed. With the extended trailer that they showed him talk, like you could hear him talking with Ahsoka, about how he trained her and why he trained her the way he did.
Right.
So
maybe they're gonna.
It makes perfect sense in that respect.
Maybe they're gonna do a live action of the from the Ahsoka, the Tales of the Jedi, when she's getting trained on essentially how to survive Order 66.
Mm-hmm.
Like a training session of that. That would be really cool. Or just them in shenanigans, because there's a lot of that in the Clone Wars show.
Pretty
Right.
much. And well, like you were saying, that episode from the Clone Wars where he's teaching her, how to defend against, multiple enemies coming at you from multiple different angles. And, it's just like she's getting knocked out and it's like, nope, get up and do it again. And so, as harsh as that training was, there was a purpose behind it.
Right.
And so
It was shown in that first part that she can handle anything.
Right.
pretty much. And then touching on the scene where they are viewing the map and Balon makes mention of the pathway to Peridia, which is an old Jedi legend from way long ago, which Morgan says is based on truth.
Right.
And then we see at the end of that second episode, that big circular ship, which they call the Eye of Sion. And it looks like it's got I would say at least 3 or 4 freaking hyperdrive cores.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just like, that is insane. But then it makes sense because you would probably need that many to be able to travel from one galaxy and travel that massive distance to the next one to get where you need to go.
And do y'all notice the amount of gold that shit has?
Yeah.
It was insane. Like the outside had gold, and then the inside had gold too. The whole room was covered in gold. Like Jesus fucking Christ!
Oh yeah, no. Gaudy as fuck, man.
Yeah, greedy. All right, do you guys have anything else?
Nope.
No? Okay, fantastic.
Oh wait.
All right,
ratings.
Shut the fuck up. All right, Lola, you stay out of this one because you haven't seen it yet. Next week we'll come back to this, to your rating. Justin.
4 out of 5. Definitely better than the first episode. Which I mean says a fair bit because the first episode was decent to a point.
Right. Yadi.
Yeah, 4.29.
4.31. No, it was a very good episode. Very good episode. All right. So if you guys don't have anything else, this concludes tonight's episode. It's a bit longer than normal. I have never heard that before. Okay. Before we go anywhere, make sure that you go on our website, thenerdarchive.com. There you can find all of our episodes. Just find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Good Pods, everywhere. All podcasting platforms, including iHeartRadio. And you can also find our merch on there. We create all of our designs ourselves, and if you are a nerd, you will love that. Don't forget to join our Discord. We actually just had someone join our Discord as we are recording, so make sure you go on there. And we have a little section, Ask the Archive. If you have any questions for us, any nerdy questions, we will read them on air and give you the credit and answer them, obviously.
Maybe.
All right, so maybe, depends. If I don't know the answer, I promise that I will find the answer for you. So with that being said, make sure you go on our social media also.
Click all the things.
Thank you, Justin. And on behalf of Lola, Yadi, Justin, and Ryan, my name is Lewis. You guys are fantastic. Make sure you stay nerdy and be yourself. See you next week. Deuces.
Bye.
Yeah.
What was that?